YouTubers? Alright, so another unboxing video. This should be a MSI Gaming Plus motherboard. It's either H310 or V360, I can't remember. But we haven't had this one on the show yet, the channel, so we're going to get it. And I'm going to zoom out a little more, come around to the other side. I got this as a new open box basically, so it looked like in the picture everything was good to go. Now if you're watching this, I will go over all the features of this in quite some detail. Hopefully I will not miss anything. And then from there, watch out for future videos where I actually will take this device and we'll install it in the computer, 9th gen. Okay, so we'll do a 9th gen build just so you can see if it's compatible right out the box with the 9th gen chip. So a lot of times, you know, these motherboards are actually compatible, and people, let's say some people don't know what they're doing. Other situations, it does require an 8th gen chip, but I think I'd say 9 out of 10 or more. I've been good with just installing 9th gen. So, but that, you know, also means that the BIOS has been updated. All right, so this came all the way from Florida, and the hurricane actually delayed it a bit. All right, so there's the back of our packaging, and this is indeed an H310M. Out of all the 300 series, this is the worst, okay? And don't just take my word for it. Go ahead and Google the reasoning, but my main reason is the fact it's only got the 2 slots for RAM, you know, single channel, two slots for it, where the others have 2 channels and a total of 4 slots. So is that big a deal? Not for, you know, most stuff, but it's also, you know, 310 is not overclockable, right? So for some people that's kind of a bummer. But I don't know how many people actually buy the K-type chips, so maybe not a deal breaker. This is a micro ATX motherboard, all right, so we'll pull that out. And you know, unlike a lot of the ATX where there's a lot to talk about on here, not quite as much. Things I would probably not mention but are important. The Easy Debug LED, pay very attention to this. Pay very close attention to this when you're building. It will basically tell you what you jacked up, okay? If your CPU's lit up, you know, that obviously could be quite a few things there. RAM, you know, a lot of times either you have the wrong RAM or you maybe you have a bad stick of RAM. Different things you can do there. Some of the computers require, you know, when you have 4 of these, that you put the first RAM in a certain place unless you fill them all with RAM. What else do we have? Hard drive, and I don't have my glasses, so I can't even see the other one. Probably maybe GPU or something. But all right, so let's go ahead and get this open. It is does still looks like it was resealed. On the front, that's what the front looks like, and they basically just says supports Intel. All right, so it looks like it was put back in the packaging nicely. That's always a good sign. Now the real question is, do we have all the stuff that's supposed to come with? Okay, so we got this cool thing. I never put these on my cases. I've got like tons of them. Maybe one day I'll do giveaways for those. You've got 2 SATA cables, okay, which SATA 3 cables, which is a good sign. They have not been opened. The faceplate, I always love when you get a nice faceplate like this. The cheap junky ones, I hate those. This is a nice looking thermal shield. So we'll talk about all the connectors eventually. We've got the disc for drivers in You know, sometimes you need these right away, sometimes you don't. It's amazing how some of the hardware is easily recognizable by Windows and sometimes it's not. One thing I love about MSI, always give you good instruction manuals. This one's a little small compared to the ATX ones, which are usually a lot bigger. Got a product registration card, I believe. And then they also have the quick installation guide, which yours truly does, you know, some of these steps in a different order. Does that make it right? No. Does that make theirs perfect? I would say no as well. All right, so I'm going to put this other stuff back in because at the moment it doesn't really matter. So, like I said, in the future, look forward to me installing a 9th gen computer in here. And I guess I will probably do a mini tower since, why put this in a full size? You're going to do full size, or you're going to do a mid tower or a full tower, obviously. Get an ATX motherboard. All right. So this definitely is new, and that was very dangerous there, folks. That's why I use a razor knife instead of a screwdriver. Hopefully I did not screw up the motherboard. Now, of course, in the wintertime, do not handle your motherboards by hand like this. It's too much static electricity in the air. It's summer here, and I feel confident that I will be all right with this. Now, I'm going to go ahead and put it on top of this. I think this will provide a better backdrop if we can line it up. All right, so let's talk about what I see. So obviously we've got our PCI Express 3.0 by 16 there for our graphics card. You know, most of the time, the one thing I don't like about these kind of motherboards, if you want a really big graphics card, your card ends up dropping off hanging off the end of the off the motherboard, which doesn't always seem to be such a great thing. Now we've got the two smaller ones, which, you know, this is great if you this motherboard does not have Wi-Fi built in. All right, so not that this is Wi-Fi, but I've done a couple of U-bit Wi-Fi cards, and this actually is to add additional USB 3.0s, but you know, you basically use cards like this to stick in there. So if you wanted to add Wi-Fi, check out my video on U-bit AC1730, freaking great Wi-Fi card, and that would plug right in there and you would have Wi-Fi with your desktop. So that's what you're going to use those for. All right, there are bigger sizes these, but this one just has the smaller ones. So what else do we see here? We've got our HD audio. Okay, so case connector wise, HD audio from the case is going to go there. Okay, your USB 2.0 connector from the case goes here. All right, then over here we've got two of our SATA connectors, okay, in case you're going to use hard drives or the 2.5 inch SATA 3 SSDs. I am pretty much just solid, you know, using the NVMe M2. So while I'm noting that, here's where your M.2 NVMe is. It does doesn't actually look like the okay. So that's just a extender. They don't have the little screw in there to screw down your M2, which really sucks. Obviously, CPU goes here, okay. And when you put the you know, to take this off, just to demonstrate, you're going to pull out, pop this up, and then voila, right? So that's what you've got under there. Obviously, you want to be very protective of these pins. Now when you put your CPU in, make sure that you line the little triangle up. It'll be over in this area, and there's probably some marking on the aluminum frame there. Just be very careful dropping that in. The plastic case either can be removed beforehand, or once the CPU is seated in there correctly, this will actually pop off when you drop it back down in there, okay? So be careful of that. 2 slots for DDR4 RAM here, okay? 2 more SATA 3 connectors for a total of 4 on the motherboard. Here, this should be your USB 3.0 Gen 1. Unless my eyes are failing me. Yeah, it's not marked like they normally are. Here's your 24-pin power that's going to come from your PSU, okay? On the top side, you've got a CPU fan header and a system fan header, okay? So let's keep track of these. As far as the system fans go, I'm only seeing one, all right? So if you have additional fans in your case, you'll have to use your MOLED connector, okay? Just so you know, not a big deal. When you buy the CPU fans, or excuse me, case fans that have RGB in them, you have to connect them to MOLED anyways for the lights to actually work. Sometimes they work off the motherboard, but most of the time it seems they don't. All right, so a lot of times with these H310s, you only have one 4x10 CPU power, 12 volt. This one has 2x4, basically 8 pin. So make sure when you're buying a power supply that you buy a power supply that has those two, has the 2x4 or 8 pin basically. What else do we got here? I think here's your CMOS battery. So in case you ever screw anything up in your BIOS, which is very easy to do. I know I've done it at least twice. I've probably done it more and not realized it and trashed a motherboard. But in case you're in there doing something and then your computer boots to a black screen, first step you ought to do is take this battery out. Well, maybe not the first, but think about the things that you might have done to change it. Maybe you just put another graphics card in. Maybe you change something in BIOS. If you change something in BIOS, there's a good chance resetting that, it'll reset the BIOS. Once that happens though, any changes you previously made, you may have to go back and change. So just be wary of that. All right. Oh, over here is your easy debug. All right. So that takes care of that. Now this motherboard is a little different than the ones I've recently been working with. And I'm missing a couple things here. Usually the far right is where your connectors are for the case for power, HDD, and all that good stuff. I have to look at the instruction manual real quick, but it's either this one or that one. And usually, you know, your little CPU, or excuse me, your case. In your case, you get a little speaker that comes with it, and that would plug in that area too. So, just so we can be right on the money with this. I'm getting out the instructions, folks. Normally I don't have to do that, but okay. So JFP1, which is actually over here. Okay. So I'm going to grab another. Let me see if I have another. Yeah. This is why, even though years of experience in computer building. So here is what I'm talking about. Here's a gigabyte. These are where this is where all of your case connectors go. In this case, they're actually going to be over here. So that's just something, you know, you've got to be wary of. All right, so that about does it, folks. We'll do a little, I was going to say a flyover. I'll bring this real close so you guys can see it up close and personal. Connectors. And I did not see any additional headers, but you will get a chance to look at it and see if you see anything. Alright, so final thing to look at, here is your connectors on the side, and you have USB 2.0, the old PS2 keyboard, mouse, DVI dual, HDMI, USB 3.0 Gen 1s. They might actually be higher than that, but USB 2.0 Ethernet, headphone, microphone. So thanks for checking out the video. Please like, please subscribe.